And I think right now, as it stands with the budget, we do not have a budget to operate beyond July 1st. So if we're going to do something different, it doesn't have to be today, but if we're going to do something different, I think we need to take some action as a board and make sure the direction to the staff is clear. Whatever action that may be. But if we want to get some information and reconvene, but I think we should keep our eye on July 1st, because right now we have a budget in place that says we're not operating on July 1st.
Okay, so we need to learn
And I guess
what would
that
happen
means,
if we closed it. Could we reopen it?
Yes, that
And
means-
we need to inquire with business people in the business whether they would be interested in doing that as a private venue.
but absent some specific direction to the contrary, we're not operating that beginning July 1st.
That's
And if it exceeds $25,000 of potential revenue for them, don't you have some procurement requirements in terms of how you approach these companies and if they express their interest in doing this?
We do for a final agreement.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I would imagine that if there's any interest, we would put out some kind of request for proposal after that.
Well, I would just simply say if you're going to reach out to folks, you need to reach out to all of them, everybody that we're aware of
Right.
in the industry. But
Just trying to get an idea whether there is any interest first, that's all.
do you guys have an idea of what kind of time frame and amount of time we're asking for in doing this?
To talk to contractors?
To talk to contractors, get that information?
I don't think they have to pull the entire population of potential contractors. We might not even know who that is completely. I think we just need to get some number to see if there's any interest.
Well, how would you gauge that, though? If you asked 3 people and those 3 said no, does that mean there's no interest? If there's 20 that, I think anybody that you know goes to the northern landfill to haul, we'd have to approach, or otherwise we're not going to really get a sense of, at least potentially may not get a sense. I don't know, you know better.
We could work with the Bureau of Purchasing to issue a letter of intent to gauge interest.
Can you issue a letter of hypotheticalness? Because intent's maybe too strong a word.
Well, on the other hand, if you
Letter of
ask and someone
inquiry.
says yes, then you know right away there's interest, so. Maybe
well-
someone will say,
Well, I would support that, Mr. President. I think that's a reasonable thing to explore. And also, I would suggest we immediately cease using the term close and substitute the word suspended with
Well,
respect to any
If we're going to do that, I
operations.
think you should make a motion, we should vote on it, because as far as I'm concerned, like I said, the information we had, the action we took, and the budget we agreed on, I'm comfortable with. So if we're going to depart from that, I think it should be in the form of a vote.
yeah, I think we should not make any motions until we got all the information.
And I think as it stands, the landfill is closing on July 1st, if that's
That
the
is
case.
correct.
Okay. Anybody else on this?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and bring a motion for it then. I'm going to move that we instruct Department of Public Works to issue a solicitation letter, find out whether or not there's any interest in the private sector of operating there 1 or more Saturdays a month. That's number 1. And number two, second part of my same motion, that we also instruct Public Works to cease using the term close and substitute the term suspend with respect to our collection operations at the Hoods Mill Landfill, so as to preserve options for us in the event we need to reconsider this 3 months from now or 6 months from now.
All right. Do we have a second? Hearing none. Anything else?
So we've already given staff direction to look at that, to find out whether there are any businesses that might be interested, so we can decide whether we want to put out an RFP. And we've already given staff direction to find out if we close Hoods Mill, will we be able to reopen it without going through another permitting? Correct?
I didn't hear anybody second my motion.
They
I
did?
thought that's what I just, excuse me?
They did?
Nobody seconded my motion. I suggested that we...
We already gave, we
private
don't need
sector
a
interest.
motion to give staff direction.
Actually, we need 3 commissioners to give staff direction.
Well, as it stands right now, it's closed. We're closing that door forever, potentially. So what this board is doing is saying, in the absence of even knowing if we can reopen that, we're going to move forward anyway and close it, because we're going to prove that we're not going to second-guess our prior decisions in order to defend the budget process. That's what we're doing.
No, what I'm saying is I think we made the right decision, and if a budget's supposed to last a year into the next year, I mean, we freaked out, basically, when we started talking about reopening a capital discussion 9 months into the year. We're not even into the year yet. I'm just comfortable with the decision we made, that's all.
At the time of this decision, we still don't know as we sit here, Mr. President, whether we can reopen that.
I don't want to reopen it, so I don't care.
You don't have enough information if you need to open it. We don't know what the effect will be
I'm
on.
comfortable with that. I
We
believe
don't know
in
what
the
the effect will be on
I believe in
Westminster
the
when we
private
close it.
sector.
They don't know, and
I
we
don't
don't
not
know
just
either.
believe in the private sector when it's uncomfortable, I believe in the private sector. If there's a line of 100 cars at the northern landfill, then someone will decide to open a hauling service, or someone will pick up at some central location, or someone will do something else. Or maybe we will decide to raise our overall rates there and finally get solid waste into a better disposition financially overall. I'm saying I believe there will be a private sector solution if the decision we made does not prove to be correct. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that's right, I'm just saying that's what I'm saying.
I would like to make a
I think
decision
you
before
are.
I would like to get the information before we make a decision about what we're doing next, that's all. We can't suspend, well, I guess we could suspend. It just seems to me that there's not much difference between where we are and where we would be with the change in words. We can't, without figuring out where the money is coming from, we cannot reopen it. So that's another discussion. But first, we have to figure out whether we want to keep it open or not. And I think we need to get the information in order to do that.
So I don't know where that leaves us. So want to make a motion, or are we just done with the discussion, or?
Well, I'm going to try again. I'm going to move that we not close that landfill until we know whether or not it can be reopened, if we need it. Okay,
That's the motion.
that's my motion.
Do we have a second?
All right, then I'm going to try again. I'm going to move that we instruct staff to bring us answers to these questions so we can be fully informed, so we know what our options are, what doors might be getting closed, and then we revisit this again in a week or two after we have answers to these questions.
Second on that?
I'll second that, although I would say as soon as possible, not put a week or two on there.
All right, any other questions or discussion? All right, all in favor?
All right?
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
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 All right, I forgot about that.
So I'll do my own research and put it back on the agenda.
That's cool. All right.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.